I do think that a kind of Stefano style where you're going largely Zerglings as the big damage dealing component to your force, that could definitely benefit from taking that early gold.
Right, right. That is literally the farthest thing in the world from how Rhett likes to play, though. You seldom see Rhett play ZVT where he doesn't get mutas, and when he does opt to skip the mutas, it's usually like a 2-base Roach Baneling all in.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that those sorts of all-in styles can occasionally catch ThorZaIN off guard, but I think General, because he's just such a strong defender, that he should be fine. In fact, ThorZaIN more so would actually want you to do that sort of thing. One of the best ways to exploit ThorZaIN is to expand a lot into tech like crazy, because he's really not going to do that much about it in gameplay.
Yep, looks like both of our players are here and ready to rock and roll day 9. So what do you think?
I'm ready. You ready? Woo. The countdown has begun. GSL Dual Sight will be the starting map. And I'm very excited to see if Rhett is going to continue to improve his play from game to game. First game of your tournament, always going to be a little rocky. This is Rhett's second series of the day. In his first series, looked shaky in game 1, a little better in game 2, and absolutely impeccable in game 3.
That is exactly right. So here we go, Dual Sight. And there are our players. So down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, the red Zerg from the Netherlands. It is Liquid Rhett.
In the right corner, the man who went from relative obscurity to instant stardom after winning the Team Liquid Star League. From Sweden, it is ThorZaIN. You can hear the crowd so excited to root for another Swede. 2 Swedes in this group.
There are so many Swedes doing well at this tournament, like Swedes that we've never even heard of, who are just like, I'm playing in the motherland and I'm going to own.
Yeah, like Saplo defeated the Korean pro gamer genius 2-0 in his group, so that means that Saplo is off to an early lead.
Yeah, I've never even heard of Saplo.
One of those names that occasionally pops up in a lot of those online cups. You see him high up on the ladder, but you never really get the chance to see him do well in a lot of live events. But of course, Dreamhack is essentially like the European Championship nowadays, and we are seeing top European talent really seize control in this event.
Yes, indeed. We've got barracks before gas here for ThorZaIN. That's, of course, perfectly normal. It looks like Rhett is going to be playing that same old hatch first. I would be surprised if he did anything different day 9.
Yeah, Rhett is the sort of player who's not thinking of how to change his composition, how to like maybe do some roach pressure or any of that sort of jazz. He's doing subtle, tiny adjustments. I've had the pleasure of seeing Rhett practice sessions about 2 months apart for the last year or so, and you'll see him do tiny moves like add on 3 creep tumors instead of getting 2 injects and 1 creep tumor. Doing subtle things like putting 1 unit in gas or leaving 3 in gas. I've seen him change his layer timing by about a minute in the last year. He is just trying all sorts of subtle tweaks and adjustments, because if you think about it, once he gets a good amount of Mutalisks and a good amount of Zerglings, that's when his comfort zone is at the max.
Absolutely, you are correct. So we've got 15 hatch, 15 pool, 17 gas for Rhett. This is the Rhett build that he's more or less done since he's been playing StarCraft 2. Like, I remember the first time I ever talked to Rhett about how to play Zerg. He's like, yeah, go 15 hatch, 15 pool, 17 gas, and that was like the day after the game was released.
That was one of the greatest things to watch about Rhett in the beta is, people kind of knew what mechanics were in StarCraft 1 because they'd had years and years and years to figure out how each individual unit was controlled, how to macro this and that perfectly. And when StarCraft 2 came out, Rhett said, I should probably never miss a larva inject.
Yeah.
And so he didn't on day 1.
That's pretty awesome.
One Marine from ThorZaIN getting very aggressive and will likely just pull right on back home.
Yep. Probably trying to force a couple lings there. Rhett's going to make 4 Zerglings and 2 Queens, and after that it's going to be lots and lots of drones. Just speaking of Brood War mechanics, I was talking to Rhett about a month ago. He was watching me play a game. He's like, yeah, your decision making's fine. It's just that your mechanics are not quite where they need to be if you want to play at the next level. I was like, yeah, what do you think I should do? He says, go play Brood War for 6 months.
That'll definitely, at the very least, initially drive you crazy, and then you'll realize the joy of only being able to select 12 units at a time.
And one production facility at a time.
Oh yeah, time to make 10 Marines. Click M, click M, click I should really go through all of them with this entire audience here. Aren't you glad you
Hotkey every
came out?
single gateway, set the map save position, go somewhere else, set a new save position, and do all your rally points.
And now you can sit at the comfort of any screen and just hold down that A button.
Yeah, a click.
And the Marines will just build themselves.
Pretty much. Now, so a couple of Hellions out here for ThorZaIN. This is a very, very common opening. We've seen a lot of this stuff at Dreamhack. Rhett just able to get that tumor burrowed before ThorZaIN's able to pick it off. A few more Hellions. It's going to be 4 Hellions in total for ThorZaIN, and he's going to switch it right back out. Factor going to drop on that Tech Lab. Barrack's going to drop on that reactor. So right into siege tank production is ThorZaIN.
You know, I used to not like this play style where you did the swap on these two and then you started going tank marine 2 at a time. I used to think that it made you way too passive. You could begin your tank production early, so hooray, when you did push out, you'd have 6, 7, 8 tanks. But of course your combat shield and your stim is so delayed that you don't really have an attack timing. However, MVP started demonstrating that you can just do straight marine with no upgrade, tank with siege pushes, and it can end up winning a lot of crazy early games, and it looks like that's exactly what ThorZaIN has in mind. We see 2 reactors on those barracks already.
This means that the marine tank push can come maybe a minute earlier than is normally possible. Instead of being a 10-minute push, it's going to be an 8 or a 9-minute push. So I'm eager to see what comes about with that. ThorZaIN has not gotten siege mode yet. They're just now starting it up, so that's an 80-second upgrade. So in a minute and a half, we might see ThorZaIN leaving his base.
Right now, Liquid Rhett, interestingly, you were talking about the Baneling Nest coming up after the Spire in almost every single game, but it looks like Rhett feeling a little bit suspect. This feels like something might end up happening. Doesn't really want to do too much.
I wonder what he saw that keyed him up on that, because he hasn't scouted ThorZaIN at all. Rhett literally has 0 vision of his opponent's base. All he's seen are these 4 Hellions.
It may very well just be the structure of the map. It's such a small push distance from base to base. Just says, you know what? I can't afford to just lose to an early push. I'm going to get the Banelings out, delay my Mutalisk some, and there's the Baneling speed. And is that an actual cancel on the Spire? Wow.
Yeah, I think he's got this Overlord in a great position, and he saw ThorZaIN push out. So immediately canceling the Spire, realizing he needs that gas for Banelings. He's got a lot of Zerglings about to pop out, and man, this is a really scary push from ThorZaIN.
Oh, ThorZaIN really moving forward aggressively. Will begin that siege mode. And look at this, Marines, no stim, no combat shield. ThorZaIN is pushing so far forward. He's got to be very, very careful. Those 22 lings now just about to pop out. Queen does get roasted. Great spine crawler placement by ThorZaIN. A lot of coverage, but still ThorZaIN continues to press.
And Rhett is going to push forward. And man, the Marines just melting away.
And Liquid Rhett making that look easy. Shuts the push down with ease. A macro hatch en route. Still 2 Queens there ready to inject away.
That's right. And the Spire going right back down. And here's the thing. When you don't have the stim, you just can't really micro against Banelings. Rhett knows it, and ThorZaIN feeling the pain of that as he's trying to kind of regroup his units in the middle of the map.
Looks like a couple of Zerglings are going to pick off some stray Marines. And this is the expansion that I was hoping Rhett would be taking with that Ling Mutalisk style. You are just trying to put distance between yourself and your opponent. That is the farthest away spot on the map. It can be a little tricky to defend once the push arrives, but Rhett is not thinking about that. He is thinking about counterattack start to finish. And of course, with the creep spread adjoining these bases, it's all the better.
Yes, sir. Excellent creep spread moving up, but ThorZaIN has been very actively denying creep spread, kind of moving out towards the right side of the map. So not as much mobility and vision for Rhett going that way. ThorZaIN will scout this expansion before it completes. So this is very, very thorough scouting by ThorZaIN. Knows exactly where Rhett is going to be taking that 3rd base.
Now this is a wild transition from ThorZaIN. He's going to be getting 1-1 upgrades, but he hasn't even got a tech lab on a barracks.
Yeah,
he literally can't even start stim if he wanted to. So this is that passivity we were talking about from ThorZaIN, where he is just going to try to get us to have 3 30-minute games in a row.
I think you're right, because he's not going to want to engage out on the map without combat shields or stim. He already tried that once. It didn't work out. It's certainly not going to work the 2nd time.
Zerglings just carefully poking and prodding, trying to find any vulnerability that they can.
Yep, instead finding a siege tank and having to turn right back around. 12 kills on that sergeant tank.
That is the opposite of a vulnerability.
Indeed. ThorZaIN is kind of positioning himself around the top half of the map as if he wants to come and attack this 3rd base. I'm not convinced that this is the best move. Rhett is well equipped to crush it. He's got about 13, 14 Banelings here. Mutas are out. He's got some Lings on the map as well.
Oh, Rhett is going to be extremely excited to see this attempt. Banelings have speed, Mutalisks are out, Zergling numbers are high. ThorZaIN
has no stim.
Oh, no stim. Oh, it is just not fun to be a Marine. Tanks fall with ease. ThorZaIN plummets to 65 food. Rhett now hitting the 3 digits and has 6 gas geysers and a healthy income level.
ThorZaIN Marines are like on a budget, man. They can't afford those upgrades.
Ugh.
Tech Labs finally being added, stim starting, combat shields starting, so finally ThorZaIN getting those important upgrades, but how far behind is he now, Day 9? He cannot leave his base until they finish, and that's going to be, I mean, the stim is a long upgrade. That's 3 minutes.
And these Mutalisks, in the meantime, are just going to wreak havoc. I mean, the armory is about halfway done, so maybe the 2-2 upgrades could start, but ThorZaIN has some big decisions to make. Does he invest in a Thor? Does he go for the 2-2 upgrades?
I don't know. I really don't even know that the game's going to reach that far. Chain repair on this turret is going to force these mutants to turn around, but not before a few SCVs go down. 9 SCV kills there for Rhett. Still has these Lings in great position so that there's no chance of ThorZaIN securing a third base. ThorZaIN trying to get a third command center started, but man, it's going to be so tough to get down there and actually lock it up. Look at Rhett's creep spread, by the way. Like, are you kidding me? He's going to have creep there before ThorZaIN lands that command center.
Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and block this one expansion with some creep. Not a big deal. We see that these macro hatches are staying absolutely maxed out on the lever. Look at this queen down to 0 energy queen at the 15-minute mark. That's definitely Rhett doing so good with all those larva injects. And there we see the 2-2 upgrades. That's going to definitely eat into that tank count.
Yeah, Rhett is just all over his game. If we look at the APM tab right now, Day 9, look at how fast Rhett is playing. He's on cruise control at like 250 APM. That is blazing fast. And this is after Blizzard has patched the APM graph thingy to make it much harder to get those numbers up there.
This statistic has even been nerfed, and it's still huge for Liquid Rhett. That's awesome. Looks like that third command center is done. Some very smart swapping going on by ThorZaIN. He doesn't need these tech labs for the barracks anymore. Just wants to try to get as many Marines out as he can.
Rhett's still actively pushing those creep tumors forward, so he is literally going to have this third base gooped up for ThorZaIN. And ThorZaIN's gonna like float over these. He's gonna be like, really, Rhett? Are you serious? Fourth base down here for Rhett. There's an SCV there for ThorZaIN scouting it, but I don't know that ThorZaIN's in a position to really do anything about it. Rhett about to max out. ThorZaIN had about 120 supply. His infantry upgrades are finally done, but man, Rhett is in about as good a position as he could ever ask for.
Now, the one thing that ThorZaIN, I think, can go for in this spot is to say, well, I guess I'll just try to have 3-3 upgrades before you, and then maybe do a huge push and win with that one single push. And look at this goofy command center going, what do I do?
Where can I go now?
Well,
ThorZaIN could feasibly push down here to this bottom right center base, but I think he really wants to knock out this creep and expand up here. There's the scan. That is a lot of tumors.
Yeah, he scans, he starts to pick off the creep tumors. It looks like the command center is just going to have to sit and wait for a brief period of time, but I mean, this is exactly what Rhett wants, these little small forces skirting out into the wrong direction.
Wow, Rhett.
Oh, no, Rhett. Oh, a huge Thor hit on those Mutalisks.
Yeah, 17 Banelings morphing in, and that is the number he needs to kill that command center, but really it's going to take quite some time for that creep to recede, Day 9.
2-2 upgrades about to finish. Rhett looks like he's going to continue to advance here. It looks like he does have the Thor loaded up into the medevac. He does the unload.
Man.
The magic boxing is there. Looks like Rhett pulls back safely again.
Yep, I don't know that he had to pull back, but he's just playing super safe. A little bit of a drop down here at the bottom of the map. Rhett is not really in position to defend it. He sees it right away, though, pulling those drones immediately. God, he is on top of his game right now. This is Rhett playing at his highest level.
Interestingly, we see the +3 armor, but no +3 attack yet from ThorZaIN. He's desperately trying to target fire this hatchery, see if he can kill it off. He's running back to behind the minerals to just do a little bit extra damage, but could hardly do anything with that small of a troop. The Banelings are there, positioned, no burrow. Rhett really needs to get that mid-game burrow timing to sort of round off this end-game mutiling Baneling play.
Creep still hasn't completely receded from ThorZaIN's third base. 18.5 minutes, and he's finally going to be able to land this command center in the next couple of seconds. Muta's going to fly in here. Oh, Rhett is just going to go for the killing blow, Day 9.
He has so many Banelings. They're rolling in. There's the lift on all the supply depots, and they continue to march forward, and there is so little that ThorZaIN can do, but it looks like the Banelings, oh, a huge hit on the SCVs.
Yes, sir. And as we like to say back home in the South, it's all over but the crying for ThorZaIN. He has lost his entire army. This command center is almost certainly going to fall. Rhett's macro is just off the chain right now. 5 Infestors popping out as he begins to transition towards Infestor Broodlord. Hive finishing up as well. Rhett has played a perfect game.
A miraculous lone medevac helping to defend this expansion. Does look like the orbital command from ThorZaIN did get repaired back to health again. A little bit of a miss rally by ThorZaIN and just has turrets ringing his base.
Yeah. But his income has just been like completely hammered. His main base is mined out. His natural is mined out. He just landed his 3rd, and Rhett's going to come in one last time. There's the big stim on the Marines, but a lot of Zergling Muta. Rhett actually disengaging there. I think he could have probably fought that, but he just wants to say better safe than sorry here. Infestors popping out, Lings popping out, and I think the next push from Rhett will probably be the last one.
And notice that on this version of GSL dual sight, there's no more golds. Dual sight is just returned back to the regular blue expansions in the corner. 3 upgrades en route. We see another Spire popping up for Rhett. Oh, he is definitely going to go for those Broodlords.
Yes, absolutely. If ThorZaIN can make it that far, as Rhett is pushing forward once again and then just slowly backing out. He's being so patient.
Oh, and the Planetary Fortress is down. Taking some huge hits on all these Infestors. He is starting to lose them, and we see there's a target fire on the tanks. He is continuing to retreat, and it looks like, wow, half the Infestors have been killed off without even really getting the chance to do that much. There's the fungal growth planting down. Mutiling fungal growth enough to eliminate these numbers of Marines. ThorZaIN has hardly any left.
Yeah, manages to hang in there for a little bit longer, but Rhett's not too bothered by it. 44 more Lings on the way, Greater Spire coming, 2nd Spire finishing up, that Adrenal Gland upgrade that you like so much coming up now, day 9, as well as 3/3 Carapace and melee attack.
Oh, a few things make me fusion core dance harder than Adrenal Glands, with probably the exception of the Behemoth Reactor.
Can you fusion core dance 20% faster?
Indeed.
I'd like to see that.
We'll do it afterwards, and people will be like, wow, that really is about 20%. He's dancing a 5th as fast as he was before. We see the Infestors continue to move cross-map, level 3, basically everything. We see that level 3 flyer attack as well. That's going to make those Broodlords so brutal. Couple of Marines heading down to the bottom right side, but Liquid Rhett just has any number of spine crawlers to hold off this small force of Marines. No +3 attack there for ThorZaIN. He's a little bit more lane-proof with that infantry armor upgrade as well.
ThorZaIN really showing a never-give-up attitude here, but Rhett is once again maxed out. 16 Corruptors going to round out his army. So I anticipate it's going to be a big Ling bust, and then he'll remax on Broodlords and say, okay, ThorZaIN, what you going to do now?
Infestors moving through the bottom right side of the map. Zerglings trying to find any sort of entrance that they can penetrate through.
Yes, indeed. And you know, Rhett, this is like Todd levels of patience. He's just like, all right, you know, I'm going to wait until I'm absolutely positive that I can end this game. There's been a lot of moments where I thought, all right, this is over. But Rhett just being oh so patient.
Oh my god, the Zerglings go on warp speed mode, and they are traveling right up through the siege tanks. It looks like these Infestors getting target fired by the tanks, taking some heavy hits. The Zerglings have managed to break through the front of the main. Some fungal growths doing some massive damage to the Marines. ThorZaIN down to a mere 60 food versus the 160 of Rhett. And I do think I know how he will be spending it. Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
10 Broodlords with +3 attack, also with 3/3 on the Broodlings. It's going to be pretty brutal. If ThorZaIN wasn't already dead, he's going to be much super dead here in just a little while. Much super dead.
He is much more dead than he was before. That's like when you take a corpse and you cut it up into smaller pieces, and they have separate coffins all around the graveyard, and then you put super glue on the coffins.
Take that,
my God, if you just could have left him. That is so grossly excess.
Indeed. Here come the Broodlords from Rhett. Like ThorZaIN he refuses to give in here. 67 supply to 197.
Don't worry, I have an expansion, says ThorZaIN, but not for long up in the top side. Planetary fortresses don't fare well against generally anything that fly, and especially not Broodlords. Here's a Paramarines. Paramarines does lose to 10 Broodlords.
Yes, indeed.
And there's the good game.
The GG.
ThorZaIN almost hitting his goal of a 30-minute game,
almost
halting at 26.